Soldier, and of course a little bit on the side of May as well. Look at that. Brand new colours there. We got the playoff skins in action for the first time in European Contenders. Angry Titans being the highest seeded team. They will be our home team for today's match. And 1Point, of course, will be the away in white.
Green isn't really the colour you think of when you think of Angry, but for the Angry Titans, they'll be the ones rolling out with the home skin. 1Point on the away skin. Highest seed always gets the home seed in this case. Now, both teams rolling out, I was probably expecting some more standard stuff. Both teams have said, at moments, yes, Wrecking Ball has its uses, but it's very niche. We're not going to run it all the time. And as expected, Tridd, nothing has changed from last patch. It's triple tank for both teams.
What a surprise. European, Overwatch and GOATs, but already Angry Titans, they've got the positional advantage, and they're going to force 1Point back. They've got plenty of time to play with. Point 1 unlocked for another 10 seconds.
Just forcing them all the way back, though. Already early dominance coming through from Angry Titans. Happy to say to 1Point, get away from this point. It is not yours to take. We are starting on there, and we will not be contested.
There they go, they're going to move back onto the point now that it's unlocked, get the capture going. 1Point pushing forward, looking for the contest. But they're going in late, so progress is already going to be going towards Angry Titans. And Lolsich holding the line with the Reinhardt. He's been pooped into the team at 1Point. He's able to retreat enough with the support of his team to stay alive. No casualties this game so far, Des.
Lolsich is going very low, but the burst healing that came through from both Aethfox and Urki made sure he's in there for long enough. And Aethfox already, he's burnt out the Coalescence. All the ultimates are coming online. Both sides starting to bring them out.
Graviton Surge from Frost. They're sitting in a rally as well, but they're going to charge through that mass. And it's going to be kills coming out for 1Point, and they're going to rack them all up together and get the flip on this point very early on into the map.
If this had been the fight that had occurred when they were at 0-0, both teams still stalling out on the point, that would have been fantastic. But Angry Titans conceding that away despite having a few ultimates online, swapping that Moira out for the Zen pretty much immediately. Scaler, equally himself, switched over earlier on. They started out on Moira on both sides, but he thought, you know what? We want to burst in, we want to melt someone down incredibly quickly. And well, you can already see how that's paid off for them. They've got the Transcendence online for this next fight. This should be theirs.
Transcendence might not even be used. Great burst shatter coming in to knock down the opponents. But Lolsich going to be moved back into the point. The rest of 1Point sitting in a Transcendence and a sound barrier on the side of Angry Titans to level out. Horfik picking up that first kill onto Lolsich. And already that's the go button for 1Point. Moving forward all the way to the spawn room. They're going to force Angry Titans back again. And they have succeeded their own point percentage so far.
Aethfox there hanging a bit outside of spawn as well. Gets himself staggered even further. So waiting for both supports to come back online. 1Point could have been at 70% at this point, Tridd, if they'd taken that first early fight. However, it's not that it matters a huge deal. They are ahead of Angry Titans. It just means they do fight back. That's one less fight they have to deal with when it comes towards the end of this round. As it stands, 1Point have got some ultimate economy online here. They're rolling it through. 2 ultimates on side. In fact, you can see Frost lurking. He's waiting. There we go.
Pulls it straight into the wall, and already there's a commitment from 1Point to smash Angry Titans back. 60% and climbing. It's now starting to get into shaky territory for the Titans.
And there's 3 ultimates online once again for 1Point. Make that almost 4. So again, the rotation coming through. This is almost like having the constant chain where the enemy team can do very little about it. They can't anticipate every single corner that Azaria can be sat behind. Maybe in that case, burning out another ultimate to try and hold themselves in place would have been a bit better. But they've got 3 ultimates to push on here, but they've got to retake now, Tridd.
Already they're sending in their Lucio further, so Lodi up high, going forward first. Lolsich sitting on that shatter in burst positions and mistimes it all. And that's another capitalization for 1Point. 10% remaining for Angry Titans. None of them can die, and they burnt the Transcendence as well. It's not looking good for the Titans to retake this. With 5% left, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to flip this over and take map 1.
Well, from that initial retreat, they were happy to concede ground, trade over to the Zen, give the point over to Angry Titans. 1Point are looking super solid. The staggers are coming through from Angry Titans, but I don't think this is enough.
Shatter from the side, they're sitting on the self-destruct. He couldn't get up fast enough, so Elivo will pick up a triple. If there was ever going to be a circumstance, the 1,000,000-to-1 shot, Angry Titans have flipped it round and are going to start earning that percentage. But if they lose one fight, 1Point are going to take this round.
And the ultimates coming up for 1Point are big for them. But let's not just forget the importance of that play. Lolsich, Elivo, 2 of the big tank players we've touched on all season. These guys have played together for over a decade in games. They know each other like anything else. And that's the kind of play that you're relying on from your tanks. No support needed. Earth Shatter into the self-destruct. Clear the point out. It's yours for the taking. Let's see if they can hold out for the next few fights.
1Point now having to aggress for the first time in a long time on this map. Angry Titans in position, they've got the rally to pop, but they're sitting on armor already. They don't need to pop it. Transcendence being the aggressive move for 1Point as they move to the back line, start flailing around these tanks, knocking them about. Back going to get that kill as Horfik is having a duel with Urki on the back line. They're going to use the Graviton Surge to buy themselves some more time. Sound Barrier comes out in response from 1Point, but they're already losing members. Urki and Elgivo picked up 2 of the supports already. Only Gods looking to take out Frozen, just needs to get a couple more ticks of that laser. He's found it. Now Elgivo with the DMech using the self-destruct. It's a little bit bit late. Unnecessary as well because the fight's already been won. That shield saving multiple members of OnePoint, but if it drops, they're going to move forward, and it happens exactly like that. Only God's going to take out Frost, and they force everyone else back to the spawn room. They've hit the 90% mark themselves, Des. One more fight could decide this round.
Frost was so desperate there to win that point as well that he burned his ultimate in the middle of it. It got immediately eaten by Elivo. He was expecting it. He's going to trade over to play Tracer to go for this one final push, but like you say, Tridd, it's do or die time right now.
99% overtime for both teams. One kill could lead a cascade that decides who's going to win this first round. Sound barrier comes out from Angry Titans, unavailable on the side of OnePoint, and the kills are starting to come in favor for the Titans.
Got it.
Horfik, Malzaza, Bruiser without a mech, Earthshatter as well. It's a little bit overkill, and it's a swing and a miss, but the final hammer strike will take out Bruce, and Angry Titans going to take away map 1 on Oasis.
Talk about a back and forth map though. 99% coming through for the side of OnePoint. Angry Titans then retaking and taking the full cap. Nice green screen as well. Big Giganti themes, you might say. Yeah,
it's their season apparently.
May well be Angry Titans the ones looking to threaten that at the very least. So heading into University, so often see some changes coming through. I was going to say it's very common that we saw a lot of Pharah and Hanzo, but Hanzo, from what we've seen around the world, hasn't been incredibly popular. Did have a couple of nerfs come through in this patch. On the other side, though, Frost going over to that McCree and Horthic picking up the Hanzo. They're going for the full combo here almost, going for that Zarya with the Dragon Strike once again.
I think they're assuming Urki will play on that Pharah, and of course with the hit scan DPS changes, mainly the damage drop-off, there's now been pulled back a little bit. Frost is going to have a much easier time taking out those vertical targets, shall we say.
And it's quite scary that the change has gone from 30% to 50% max drop-off. And actually, it's incredibly impactful. The amount of damage you kick out is more than enough to bring the Pharah down quicker than you could do before, which means these fights don't really go as easy as you might expect for the Pharah. Has to play a lot more carefully. As you can see right now, playing very defensively, hooked away behind this wall.
Very slow Overwatch. OnePoint do have positional advantage. Lolsish looking to change that. Only got from the side with the Storm Arrow will take Frost out. And now he's freed up a lot of space for him to move forward. But Malzaza still getting Lolsish. They traded 1 for 1, but the tank presence is what you need to get that capture. He's going very low, using the barrier, moving forward. Apox gets a kill onto Malzaza, and Urki's still in the sky. Lolsish going to follow up a kill after he was rezzed by Luddy. So Control going over to the Titans.
It was a good push. As soon as they managed to get down the McCree, they knew that was their opening to go through and push in. Frost being out the way meant Urki could go in, and they thought they would win the tank fight off that. Not quite the case, because OnePoint kind of bit back with a bit of vengeance and made sure Lulz just went down. That evened things out, but they were still in the advantage where there was more damage on their side, and they could close things out.
Holding a forward position away from the point, and OnePoint are going to have to run the gauntlet to get through and even touch to contest this. Already just throwing out damage, trying to break through those Reinhardt shields on the back line, going very low. Elivo will take out Malzaza, so the rest of OnePoint should retreat. Angry Titans know this. They've smelt blood in the water. They're going to move forward, and they've got that Graviton Surge for the next fight. There's no point in using it this time around. Brewston's cut off from the rest of the team. The Orb of Harmony's trying to keep him alive. The rest of the team know that reinforcements are coming in. The damage is there for him, and Apox is the one to finish off that kill. Resurrection forced out early. They will not have this for the next fight.
Always nice having that on side. Both sides with the Mercy just means that you can't afford to change off the Mercy. You've got to keep it on side. The res does come through for Brewston. Probably would have wanted to save that for the next ensuing fight because Luddy will have his online. Look at the ult bar for Angry Titans though.
Grab Surge into Grab Dragon combo. It's an iconic European duo. In fact, it's iconic around the world. Lolsish then going to follow up with a kill onto Malzaza, and Frost has got nowhere to go with no support from his team. A much more dominant Angry Titans on this second round of Oasis.
I like how the Only God is being treated less as a tank buster here and more as someone to enable Urki to pop off, because if he shuts down Frost, well, Pharah can go in for a field day, then there is no one around to contest. So smart play coming through so far.
90% on that ult charge for Urki. Oh, Lolsish stunned up in a lot of trouble as Brewston's going to take him out. Urki will take out Frost and only got shut down the second DPS, forcing out a res early. You have to choose. Do you want the McCree or the Hanzo? In fact, they're valuing the McCree, but Urki, a little bit too late to shut him down. We'll get him, but after 2 kills, going down over to the side of Angry Titans. 93%. Frost is still up and doing work. Just need to get a few more kills. They're pushing onto the point. Someone needs to touch this and force out the overtime. It's been done successfully, but they've lost fat through a flame strike. Shatter comes around the side. Frost goes in with the flashbang, but shut down by Onigod. There's not much he could do there. Overtime's going to tick down. Graviton Surge pulls them together. Transcendence to keep everyone alive, but that's Brewston by himself on the Zarya. Can anyone get there in time? I don't think they can, Dez. Angry Titans going to take the first map 2-0.
Been a bit of a tough one coming into this. OnePoint, they knew that they were against the #1 seed from Group A. They would have to try something different to upset them and change what might be expected. But so far, we've seen exactly what we expected from 1.24. This was the time to mix things up, and so far they haven't done it. However, it is only the first map. It's always a very quick, short one. Maybe some things get changed up as we move into the second, third, and potentially fourth maps.
Did you mean to say 1.24?
No.
Sorry, I just thought that's what you I genuinely thought that's what you were going for.
No, it genuinely was, because it was 1.24 patch. Nothing's changed from what we saw back then. That's my concern.
Well, adaptation doesn't seem to be the name of the game, and no one's really transitioned or pulled apart the main points of the patch. We're going to go to a quick break and see if that changes when we come back from map 2. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're about to jump into map 2 of Angry Titans versus ONE.PoinT. Of course, they are fighting for playoff survival and a spot in our semi-finals on Sunday. Already Angry Titans, not surprising many people, leading the series with a 1-0 scoreline after taking Oasis, quite a dominant fashion. Throwback to a couple of weeks ago when I did that.
Why not? I mean, to be honest, first map as well, it did go 2-0 the way of Angry Titans, but that first map, probably a little bit scary for Angry Titans. 99% over to the side of ONE.PoinT shows that they have got the capability to chain those ults together. Big question is you've got to win that first fight to start getting the ultimate ball rolling in a way. And to be honest with you, the second map was much more what we expected. Full dominance by Angry Titans.
See if the momentum carries forth or whether the cough curse has any merit to it. Because, of course, we noticed a lot during the Contender season. Teams were winning that first map and then losing the rest of the series. Could always happen to Angry Titans, however unlikely it is. Eichenwald is our second destination on our series today. Of course, it's going to be ONE.PoinT on the defensive side first, I believe, this time around, even though they are on those away skins still.
And they're swapped in Mirror as well, so Frost's going to be sitting this one out while he comes into play. And Mirror has been kind of brought in as a Zarya specialist for these guys, but I'm curious to see what they've been working on the last week. If he is your specialist, dedicated player, well, what better time to bring him out and try and cause some surprises and upsets to the other side? Bastion
hasn't changed yet, Des.
They're all throwing themselves off the edge still. I'll give it a few more.
Give it a few more, yeah. play it on the side of air of caution. Let's do that. See what we can talk about, though. So we know we're going to have a Pharah, at least. Horfik's already dancing around their defensive points, so it's unlikely he's going to change. And, of course, Scalar on to that Zenyatta. Just need to wait for the rest of the team to catch up before we can lock down any of these picks. And Brucean will be playing on that Diva.
And to be honest with you, this is what I expected out of Mirror. I've been speaking to a couple of the coaches, and he has been painted as not just a Zarya specialist, but also a Doomfist specialist. And they said they were bringing this into the fore when they expected tanks maybe to arrive on the field. We spoke about him a lot during the regular season. Doomfist is the answer when you see a lot of tanks, so he can get away from them quite quick without being chased down like you can against Dive. So maybe this is the time to make it work. And look at the setup they've got. Now, Pharah in the sky raining down rockets, the threat of Mirror onto the backline of the supports. Keep an eye on only got on this Sombra, though, because we've been seeing a lot of that around the world.
Interesting to see what pulls off here. I think they're expecting something that ONE.PoinT aren't actually bringing to the table. I don't think they would choose to run the Sombra into this composition. already. Horfik just playing around on the back line, and they've conceded that first chokehold. They want Angry Titans to come into their domain, so they can rain down rockets, and Erky's doing just that from above. He's already found Mira. He's gone onto the back line, knocking up Elivo, but he'll be taken out by a couple of clean directs from Erky. So already missing a crucial member of their team. They're relying on the sole DPS of Horfik. He's not been able to get much done so far by himself.
Getting rained on by that fire as well. Thankfully, Mira will be able to return quite quickly, but quickly enough is the big question because Angry Titans are descending on the point. This is exactly what you take Sombra, melting down through the backline. He's getting the whole backline melted down. Does go down, but bringing down those two members, that's more than enough.
Well, he's still got one support active for them. Fat has now actually gone down to Elivo, so the hack wasn't long enough. Mira looking for the punch, unable to connect it with anyone. The rest of Angry Titans are just going to roll over this one. Just a lone, stagnant staller for 1Point, but the point's going to go over to Angry Titans, and they're going to get it in motion.
This always seems like the hardest point for teams to defend in the game. Every single time we come across Eichenwald, there's things like triple DPS coming through. We have supports playing all the way back in the house, so they're very hard to get to. They still manage to get rolled over. I don't know why. It's the curse of Eichenwald, apparently. But now you might see some comps change up as we go through into the second stage. Wasn't really the most successful defense for 1Point.
Keeping with that Doomfist, still onto the second point, so he's going to be jumping off the top rope, giving that elbow drop down to his targets, and Horfik's picking up Sombra for himself this time around, so Onlygod's going to have that advantage of being closer to the EMP, but I'd like to see what Horfik can do with this hero under his belt as well.
Interesting change for Angry Titans as well. They've rolled out for the dive tanks plus Roadhog. Mira manages to get a kill onto Luddy in the midst of all that.
From the top rope, then gets Luddy that kill. Elivo's going very low. The rocket punch should seal the deal. Self-destruct buys him more time, but there's a hack coming out from Onlygod as well. But Mira was nowhere near it, so he's going to be alive still. Nice evade. Now they're trapped in a combined area. He's got the Meteor Strike, going to bring it down. Looking to find someone. The Winston could be a prime target. Damage is there, but not the kill. Flies to the back line. He has to deal with Erky on the Roadhog, but he's been hacked out of the sky. He's going to be locked down by Onlygod. No one's following up with the kill. They have got healing. There's an EMP for 1Point. This should be a tide-changing battle for them if they can just secure a few more kills. Mira still trying to find him, holding around the side, got the rocket punch charge, waiting for someone to show themselves as Malzaza gets the kill onto Elivo, and now a Transcendence for 1Point is holding them all together.
This is so messy. There's constantly ults being popped out, but no team really taking a decisive advantage, looking to bring down A-Fox on the Mercy, just to bring an end to the healing. Finally, he goes down. This should be 1Point's fight to take, and yes, they will manage to push Angry Titans away.
Burn a sizable chunk of their time back. They've got 3 minutes 30 roughly to go still, so plenty of time to get round to that checkpoint, give themselves some extra time, and Onlygod's already behind them. But Scalar's having none of that nonsense today. Charged up right click, shuts him down.
They've changed over to the triple support on the other side as well. Luddy did use the sound barrier to stay on that, but they've got the Brigitte and the Mora coming on side now. Looks like they're sticking with the dive tanks as well, so not really characteristically when we see a triple support being brought out. You're relying very heavily here on Onlygod to get off a big EMP. The team rushes through and mows everyone down.
There could be a very vulnerable backline, especially with the EMP about to come up for Onlygod, but they're going to hack Malzaza, ground him, and hopefully go for the kill. Meteor Strike from Mira, they're sending in a self-destruct as well. There's a lot of chaos to dodge if you're the Angry Titans. No kills yet. Immediately hacked as soon as he lands. There's no follow-up, and the self-destruct is there. Brucen got one of his own. Elivo takes out Malzaza, but Mira's going to be taken out by just raw damage. Scalar turns it around onto Lolsish. Fight's going in favor of Angry Titans, and they're getting positional movement. Horfik hacks Onlygod and gets himself up to the safety of his team and his supports, and Mira's back in the fight. EMP locks everyone down. Where's the follow-up? You can see Mira on the back line already taking out A-Fox, jump into his own back line. He's around the fight everywhere, and Erky's going to shut down Horfik to keep this fight going.
Didn't manage to hack through enough of them, but they're still getting themselves pushed back here. 1Point of the ones on the attack, on the march through. Malzaza bringing down Erky will give them a bit more breathing room for now. Angry Titans get pushed back once again.
Very solid defense from 1Point. They're using this Sombra really well. They're able to follow up and create opportunities for Mira to come in and fight. When its reset's coming in, they've burnt another 1 minute 30 for Angry Titans.
And a bit of hype as well for Bruce. And every single time someone gets hacked, he's there with the defense matrix, making sure all that focus fire onto the hacked target is not connecting. So keep your eye on him in most of these fights. If he's not around, that's when you'll see key members start falling.
Onlygod's going up high. He's got an EMP in his pocket onto the back line. This for very vulnerable supports for them to kill. Using terrain to keep themselves alive. Angry Titans, they've used this opportunity. And with Mira hacked, Erky's going to pick up that final kill. They can put this onto the home stretch, potentially get themselves that checkpoint.
We thought the old patch was very rock, paper, scissors. This one, very much so the same, but on a more individual basis. Sombra stupidly popular because she can shut down the speed, the shields, the 3-3 comps. In this case, she can shut down the Winston from jumping away. She can deny the speed boost of Lucio. She can do everything you'd want in a team, essentially. And even now, just trying to make sure that Winston is hacked so they cannot go anywhere. They get the shield out, but overcomes the top of the bomb, gets Malzahsa.
Still finding Malzahsa in all that chaos, and Mira wants to shut down Urki. The meteor strike onto the payload should get some people, but no one dies to it. The rest of Angry Titans are cleaning up 1Point again, and they're going to move it onto the final phase of this map with an extra 1 minute 30 to their name.
2.5 minutes pushing into the final point. Not a bad amount of time to work with. 1Point going to mix things up a bit. They'll bring out Lucio, Brigitte, and Zarya going more towards, or definitely towards, that 3-3. Angry Titans are nearly halfway there themselves. Just looking at that Sombra, that's the big key differentiator in this fight. So 1Point here will be looking for direct fights, trying to mow through the backline of Angry Titans while they've got the 5 versus 6. On Angry Titans' side, they're riding everything on this EMP.
It's very close. 14% required. Get over a couple of spray downs, maybe a hack onto an individual. They can drop Malzahsa's shield, but they're looking everywhere to try and catch Only God out. And they've done it on this occasion. Sound barrier and the hack. Push forward, Angry Titans, and use that rage to shut down 1Point. They're doing everything they need to do. Horvik, Bruce, and Scalar, they've all been victimized. And Fat's going to be the last one to go. Home stretch for Angry Titans.
Couple of ults online for 1Point. That Transcendence should be enough to give them a bit of a stall coming out. And Bruson's got that self-destruct if they don't want to just throw it in their blind. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, the Transcendence is there to make sure everyone stays alive, and this resistance is good. Self-destruct going over the top. The Transcendence can't heal that. Everyone's behind cover, but Mira wasn't good enough. Bruson gets a 2-for-1 trade with the self-destruct, and Avox and Elivote are gone down. Shatter finds Bruson off to the side, but no one else because the shield from Malzahsa was good. Follows up with a charge. Only God's on the back line, trying to shred through that mech, but he's been spotted out. A Shatter of his own comes out. Too much tension being given to him by Fat. He has to call it. But the rest of Angry Titans starting to be pushed back by 1Point. Solid defense coming in, and Elivote switched over to the Wrecking Ball. Final moments. He's by himself. He's just causing so much chaos, but he needs to get out alive so he's not stalled for this next fight.
Digging himself stalled out a bit there. I think his intent was more to get back to the fight incredibly quickly so the remaining members could stick around. It wasn't going to be a long, slow draw out. Getting towards 50% on that ultimate, maybe looking towards getting that minefield deployed on the point itself will make it very hard for the enemy team to push in and contest what's going on. But 1Point have got some ult of their own coming online. They could potentially hold them here for this final 30 seconds. This may well be the final fight, Tridd.
Elivote just teasing us with the wrecking ball. He's gone back to D.Va. So he's sacrificing a lot of ult charge. Only God's got that EMP. He's in the middle of the fight, shutting down multiple members, but there's no shield for Malzahsa, no protection. They're just going to barrel through the rest of the team. Follows up with a Shatter. Elivote getting that kill onto Mira. The payload's in motion. Everyone's forced out by the spawn room. No counter charge coming out for Lulsish, but Malzahsa exposed himself for death. Scalar with the Coalescence, keeping Horvik alive. That only lasts for so long. It might have bought him enough time, especially with the sound barrier, to be able to keep everyone sustained. They burnt through enough of the time bank, though, Des. If this happens, it's going to be in overtime.
They're still trying, though. Angry Titans are the ones with the point advantage. Oh, the shatter comes through. Still 1.42 meters left on the clock, but 1Point, they're coming back through. Angry Titans with a couple of members here still fighting it out. Looks like they might have this one packed away, Tridd.
Just need to take out Horvik, and they should be able to do it. The distance is close enough, and the self-destruct for good measure. Angry Titans complete, but with no time remaining.
Well, that means this can go one of several ways. They complete, and we find ourselves going back into it again with a minute apiece. They complete with more than a minute, and they get their final push. Otherwise, well, it's Angry Titans taking the second map and going into the half 2-0. That would be the kind of scoreline you expect, but that was definitely a hard-won fight by Angry Titans.
Seems to have stages of resistance. Okay, let's talk about 1.1 defense. Not that strong. Didn't work out for them. Took some risks. Fair enough, though. Kudos for experimenting. Move on to the second point, especially to kick things off. They had a solid hold at that gate. They were not letting them through. And then the middle of it just seems very Angry Titans favored until they got to that final stretch where the spawn advantage really kicked in for 1Point, and they were able to shut that down. So let's see what they do on their offense. Angry Titans, of course, their time to defend against 1Point.
Time to get creative if they fancy it. On 1Point side, it always seems to be the story again. First point's always about heavy DPS defense. Try not to get yourself picked off, and I understood the intent. Mira playing on the Doomfist did mean they could rotate things around and get that Doomfist back to the point nice and quick if he did go down, which he did. Biggest concern for him at that first point was he was playing like a frontline tank. Yes, Doomfist has received a buff. His shields off his normal abilities now give you 35 instead of 30. Just when you get a bit more survivability. Biggest problem is, you're still not a tank. Stop throwing yourself in front of tanks and getting yourself killed nice and quick. So maybe this time around, change up that playstyle a bit. I'd like to see them keep on trying it because, as we said before, very, very good into tank-heavy comps. Angry Titans not looking to roll tank-heavy, mind you.
Keeping themselves with the Farah and, of course, the Hanzo. So are they expecting triple tanks? We usually saw that as a counter to the GOAT's composition, Des.
Quite possibly, or they're rolling out with a 3-2-1. The counter that we saw devised to the double sniper meta we saw quite a lot in 1.24 not too long ago. Biggest concern of this is always, if your support gets rolled over, you are in a lot of trouble. Yes, Afox can keep himself alive on that Roadhog. The rest of your team, they're sitting ducks.
Well, 1Point, they're running out with something fairly standard, similar to what we saw last time. They got themselves a Sombra and the Doomfist. So, Mira, he is there just to be that Doomfist specialist, apparently, and 1Point trying to make good use of him.
I thought they were going to change it. Yes, they have changed, actually. So Holt has gone away from the Sombra. They're going straight for dive here. This is a pretty committed 6-man dive. Mercy, yes, the more vulnerable member of this moving cohesive unit who just wants to bowl through, find Luddy, bring him down, and then clean up the rest of the team.
Well, Urki, he's going to give a nice destination for Luddy to move to. He's already got a direct on to Fat. Just needs to land that second rocket. Horfix already taken out Onigod and Lolsish. So what's going to happen now? They've got no tank and no DPS, and Urki's been removed from the sky. This is very quick and very efficient from 1Point to take out all these key members. If they can just take out Luddy, they should all but seal the deal.
Horfix just trying to cleave his way through as many members as he can and making it work. And that's got to be one terrifying dive duo to come up against Tridd. Both the Doomfist and the Genji diving onto you. Good luck. One locks you in place and does a lot of damage. The other one just keeps on throwing shurikens at you until you're dead. What are you going to do about that? And once again, the curse. Forget about the Koth curse, Tridd. It's the curse of first point defense on Icon Bowls.
A lot of supports in this meta when they see the Genji and the Doomfist. They've got themselves a wet rag and they're just dabbing their forehead of all the sweat that's just coming off of them because they know they're in trouble. Brusen already with the rest of his team getting that high ground and forcing Angry Titans further back to allow this payload some free mobility in the early stages of this phase of the map. The Angry Titans, they've been able to force them back. They've got the height advantage with the Pharah. Barrage available. You've Valkyrie already popped, but Horfix taking out Afox. Mirror needs to find somewhere to take cover because he is getting rained down above. Moving over to the side, here's the Dragon Blade coming out from Horfix. Just shy of the height, and Elivote comes in with a drive-by to take him out. So, wasted opportunity. Mirror going to get shut down before we complete the rocket punch. Going to have a rocket and a punch to the head to seal that deal as Urki repositions to try and catch the retreating members of 1Point.
It was a huge risk for Horfix there, but if he managed to get hold of that Mercy, you get the dash reset in the sky, that would have been a dead Pharah and probably the end to the defense, but just falling ever so slightly short and not being able to bring her down. Ultimately costing the fight altogether. Going to go back, reset out to Sombra, come back into the fight fresh.
Himself self-destructing a barrage still. Of course, Mira. He's got himself that Meteor Strike, so he's got a get out of jail free card if it starts going a little bit sideways for him. Urki going down low for the barrage. Late response, but he managed to catch a lot of the damage from Malzaza to then clean up. Does get a D-Mech onto Brusen though, so they're missing a crucial part of the tanks. Horfix with the hack onto Lolsish. He's got nowhere to go, nowhere to defend. Down comes the Meteor Strike solely for Afox. He hit him with that! What is the range on that ability as Mirror follows up with a kill onto Luddy? And at 1Point, they got the payload in motion a lot quicker than Angry Titans did.
Doomfist going to do what Doomfist going to do, and normally what he does is melt your supports, and that's pretty much what he just did with a little bit of assistance, but managing to bring down that backline, that is all you need to stop the Titans' defense and force them to pull back. Urki's going across the Brigitte here, so they have at least some answer to this terrifying Doomfist, which is ravaging their backline.
Onigod's about to get that EMP online, and Horfix hiding behind the rest of Angry Titans, but they're not sticking around. They're pushing forward. Now he's been left by himself on the backline, which is always the risk of that strategy. 3 kills for Angry Titans, sorry, 2 in a D-Mech. Should be enough to force back 1Point, kill the momentum, but they're going to come back with so many ults.
It's always what worries me about the Sombra in this current patch is that if you're playing with a Sombra on team, you're essentially 5 versus 6 in your main fight. In this case, there's a Sombra on both sides, so it's not the end of the world. But when your team really wants to push and try and win a fight, you're doing this for the most part. You're standing around like an invisible scout almost, just telling everyone, okay, here's where they are, here's what's going on. They're like, well, sorry, mate, we still can't win because we're getting rolled over.
How much do you value the information? That's the question for 1Point. If they're there, they're able to get that information and relay it to the team. They, yes, have an edge, but is it an edge that compensates for one less member in your fighting force? Already self-destruct over the top, Mirror. Sorry, Malzaza with the Primal Rage, knocking Urki off. Hack from Onigod should lock Scaler down. Can't commit to the kill because the supports come back to pocket. While this has been going on, a hack comes in. Onigod's still got his in his pocket, but the rest of his team is dead. It's a wasted opportunity if he uses it now. Has to wait for Angry Titans to regroup and potentially stall out before they hit this next checkpoint.
Well, at least the Doomfist works here. We saw Danid play it quite a lot during the main season from We Have Org. Few question marks around it. Mira, though, clearly with Coach Asamoah, formerly of We Have Org, making it work for them as it stands. Bit of a blind self-destruct, but it still gets Mira.
The blind self-destruct on the Mira, then the EMP follower. Sound barrier was able to come out for 1 point before the hack connected, so they have that going for them. But they're one man down fighting against Angry Titans, who've got the spawn advantage, and they've cleared them off the payload, Des. 1 minute 50 left for 1.'s offense.
It's a couple of times now, actually, that we've seen Scaler manage to bring out that sound barrier despite having the EMP in effect. That's all about positioning, being away behind a corner so you can run around, drop the sound barrier, or dropping the sound barrier just as it comes out, because you can still be in the animation as the EMP comes out, land and get the sound barrier on your team. Worst case scenario is you drop it before the EMP comes out, because then the whole thing gets cancelled.
It's a really awkward game of chicken when it comes to EMPs and sound barriers, and on this occasion, Fat was able to pull it off. Scaler was able to pull it off, but it's not always going to be the case for him. They will be mistakes. Good game-costing mistakes as well. 1 minute 10 remaining for 1 point. Mira's got that Meteor Strike online, as well as the Valkyrie for Fat. They're going to have to fight against the Transcendence and Primal Rage. Already goes in, won't connect the Rocket Punch, but closes the gap. There's the elbow drop into the uppercut. There's the Meteor Strike. Going to put it on the payload, maybe stop the aggression coming out. But he's going to clean up for his backline. Out of range, unfortunately. Primal Rage as well. Knock him to the side, buy some time. There's the uppercut. He's stunned up by Urki. Unable to complete his combo, but he's still going to go in. Self-destruct over the top for A-Fox, and now he's taking cover from a self-destruct coming out from Angry Titans. There's the hack from Horvik, trying to follow up. Mira comes in. Both supports are down for the Titans. They should be able to clean this up.
That high ground giving him so much time just to stand away from all the damage coming out of Lord. She's going to get himself boots off the edge here. No time for a jump. Mount Zasa getting him off with the Primal Rage. They managed to push through Tridd with 30 seconds less than the Angry Titans had at this point. They've got 2 minutes to tie it up.
2 minutes isn't a lot considering how much they had to burn from Angry Titans. 2 minute 30 they had coming into this one. An extra 30 seconds could be the difference maker. It's only got just to get the D-Mech before he goes, and he gets out alive as well. Quick reset coming out for Bruce, and he knows he can't go into that next fight without it.
Not worth, but A-Fox has got a couple off the back of it as well. So Angry Titans, minute 30, maybe 3 fights in this one if 1 point move quick. They've got the sound barrier online. The other side, though, they've got that EMP, so that mini-game of Lucio versus Sombra begins once again.
Very aggressive positioning from the Titans as well. Because the payload didn't get that initial push, they can hold this choke. Of course, it opens up 1 point to move around, using the sight lines to get themselves closer without taking damage, without seeing it immediately into a hack. Fat's got nowhere to go, will get gunned down by that hammer, and Elivote follows up with a double kill. That's a reset for 1 point, so already a minute of that finite time they had burnt down for 1 minute remaining for 1 point.
That's just the impact an ultimate like that can have. You can just manage to get it down. Suddenly, everyone's without shields, they're without abilities, all movement effects are taken away. You are doomed, essentially, when the team pushes in onto you. Maybe that duration is very, very crippling for some teams, and they have to reset completely. Only going to switch over to the Zarya for that final 3-3, all or nothing, in a sense. Just completely go for it right now. They've only got 35 seconds on the clock. This may well be their last push.
Absolutely, but they've got the ult advantage because of those changes. Sound barrier already being used. They need to get that payload in motion away from this choke point, make it that much easier for them. Loslodge picking up the first kill. Malzaza going down to a flame strike. Horvik being followed up on. 20 seconds remaining, and Angry Titans have got 1 point on the ropes. There's nothing they can do to get an organized push out in time. Angry Titans know it, and they're forcing them all the way back to the spawn room, and they're going to hold them here, Des.
All they got to do is just hold that door. There is no way they can get to the point from here. They're going to the half 2-0 at this point, Tridd. That is a great place for them to be. Like, they've got Bruce in the back line. They know exactly where he is.
Unable to touch that. Hang on a minute. Horvik's there on the Sombra. He's bought enough time for 1 point to get back into this. Self-destruct to be blocked out. A Transcendence there for Angry Titans, and the kill feed already going in their favor. Beautiful shatter from Lolsish to shut down the forward momentum. They can kill Horvik. They know there's going to be no one lurking around again. They've cleared them all out there. Overtime's going to tick down. We're a team kill to boot. Angry Titans go into the half 2-0.
No big surprises, I think, coming out from either side. Yeah, okay, a bit of Doomfist in the mix, a bit of Sombra, nothing really too unexpected or surprising. Angry Titans so far, though, they found an answer to everything that 1 point has thrown at them, and I'm a bit concerned. One more map is all that stands between Angry Titans and a place in the semi-finals. 1 point, they've got to have a bit of a rouse, a bit of a step up here at halftime. A very, very good team talk. Get their heads back in the game. It's all or nothing here, boys.
You seem like a glass half full kind of guy. I'm going to go with a glass half empty kind of aspect. It's not Angry Titans not getting themselves to semi-finals. It's 1 point ending their Contenders season now, because there's nothing to do. Nothing to do until they go back for Season 3. We're going to go over to our analysts, though, and they're going to break down the series so far.